Good evening, Colorado and the Rocky Mountain Mile High region. What is up? It is Denver Sports Tonight. It is a Monday, and I think we're supposed to have our taxes done today, right, KJ? Okay, get it done. Broncos need to get a quarterback. That's what their quarterback tax is, that they got to pay a price to move up. This whole nonsense, garbage philosophy of like, they can just trade back and get a bunch of picks. Nobody wants to trade to 12. Can I make that any more clear? 12, as Andrew Mason said earlier today on Orange and Blue Today, is no man's land. It's not this magical number where it's the hotness, right? And everybody wants it. Man, I got to move up to 12. Sure can't wait till I can move up to 12. KJ, I suppose I should have done better preparation and figured out who was the best player ever taken at 12 overall. But either way, if we look at this, save that for the drive. Save that for Zach and Phil. They can do that. But like, if you look at this situation, if a great player falls to 12, and let's say that great player is Brock Bowers, tight end of Georgia. I think he's an impact guy. He's a playmaker. I still love Jared Wiley. Love Jared Wiley, but he's more of a third-round pick. I thought he might go to the fourth, but man, he's getting some buzz recently, so the TCU tight end probably going to go in the third round. So let's just say Brock Bowers falls you at 12. You take Brock Bowers. If you haven't moved up for your quarterback, which is what they need to do, if they can, I think I might be the bearer of bad news tonight. But either way, I'll get to that a little bit later in the program. But this whole notion of like, move back and collect picks, I'm here to tell you, as someone who talks to every team in the National Football League, 12 isn't hot. 12 isn't sexy, and nobody wants 12. Hell, the Broncos don't even want 12. Are you kidding me? Because if they had their druthers, they'd be moving on up. If they can do it. And that's the thing. Like, for you to move back from 12, it means someone that you don't need, and this team needs a lot, someone has to fall there. Olu Fashanu. Let's take him, for example, Penn State tackle. The rumors or the buzz now, April lies, basically. If I hear it in April, I'm pretty much just going to assume it's a lie. Maybe it's totally true and I'm totally wrong. I don't care. But the April lies that I hear about Olu Fashanu, my number 3 tackle in this class, is he's falling in the draft. Okay, you're a tackle-needy team. You miss out on Joe Alt. You don't get J.C. Latham. You think Fashanu's going to be the guy. Okay, he's falling. He's going to fall past 12, right? He's not the type of player that you would move up to and get. Jared Verse, right? Let's talk one of those pass rushers. You want to talk about Laite Latu from UCLA? Well, you're the Broncos. You need a pass rusher. You don't really have a double-digit guy on this team. You don't have that alpha number 1 pass rusher that Latu would be, that Verse would be. Instead, you've got really good number 2 options, and you got a lot of them, even with Drew Sanders likely moving to the edge this year. So when I hear, and God bless you all, God bless the RamosLaw.com text line. It's 303-713-1043. God bless Brian, yes, that Brian, wanting me to say propaganda. Like, God bless everyone that interacts with this show and this station forever and ever and ever. But this one's a big one. When you say move back and get more picks, who is moving up and for what? Just tell me that. If you can answer me that, then I will listen to that argument and that conversation. And that's what sports talk is all about, right? It's supposed to be a conversation. It's not supposed to be about, my opinions are totally right. Well, my opinion is they need to move up. They need a quarterback in a bad way. And so my memo to George Paton tonight, Broncos general manager, is merely this. No one wants your pick, bro. Sorry. I mean, I don't mean to put it that way so bluntly, but 12 is not hot. And there is not a player that you could say, okay, the Broncos don't need this. If a cornerback, Terry Arnold, right? Let's say that. Some people talk about Cooper DeJean, whatever. Give me a corner in this class. The number 1 corner falls to 12. Well, Denver needs a corner. I know Riley Moss is there, and Riley Moss should be the starter opposite of Pat Surtain, but very unproven, obviously, because he was hurt as a rookie and he barely played as a rookie. One of the biggest mistakes, a couple of big mistakes, 3 or 4 maybe, the Broncos did not get J.L. Skinner any sort of playing time as a rookie. The Broncos barely got Riley Moss on the field as a rookie. Thomas Nkoum didn't play as a rookie. Like, that's a pass rusher, undrafted guy that's got some of that alpha to his game that they need. And if you'd played these guys during the year last year when you weren't going anywhere with Russell Wilson, who you should have benched in week 5 anyway, when you're going nowhere with Russell Wilson, why the intent to not play your young guys? I do not make sense of that whatsoever. You're not going anywhere. Play the young guys. Hey, you lose more games. Hey, you have a better draft pick. Hey, we're not talking about 12. We're not talking about this constant problem because of the positioning that you have because you won too many games. So this idea of move back and get more picks, that sounds great. That's not KJ, I got a great idea. You know what? I'm going to play the Powerball tonight and I'm going to win. That's my idea. Is that a great idea? You think it'll work?
No.
No? Okay. Well, I don't think moving back from 12 and getting more picks would work because I don't see who's going to be there that you wouldn't need already. Name a position, any position. One of those tackles falls. Well, you need a tackle. Depending on the future of Garett Bolles, you'd need a developmental one, or you can never have too many good tackles. Like draft a tackle. Cornerback. Well, you kind of need a cornerback. Wide receiver, maybe Rome Odunze, who could be the third receiver off the board. I could make the argument he's the number 1 pick for Arizona because he is the most like Larry Fitzgerald of any of these receivers. And I think these 3 receivers in this draft class might be the 3 best players, regardless of position. I actually think Brock Bowers is the 3rd best player. MHJ, Marvin Harrison Jr. is the 2nd best player. And Caleb Williams is the best overall player. He's still not my number 1 quarterback. That is Jayden Daniels. So maybe I should just say Jaden's 1. But either way, Rome Odunze, for whatever reason, falls to the Broncos at 12. You know what you're doing? You're writing down on the card, and you're having it taken to the podium so that Roger Goodell can say, with the 12th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Rome Odunze, wide receiver, University of Washington, and the crowd goes wild. So when you say move back and get more picks, my mere question to your statement or your opinion is Ricky Watters. For who, for what? Right? For who, for what? Wait, okay, who's moving to 12 and for what player, and why aren't you taking that really good player that this team would move up to 12 for? You got the Raiders right behind you at 13. Hey, we can get Bo Nix. Hey, cease. I got the idea. I like Bo Nix, but I like him at 32 instead of 12. Well, if you trade back to 32 or whatever, you trade back to 31. You're not trading with KC. You trade back to 31. Well, okay, is there a guarantee on the box that Bo Nix is? We really like Bo Nix, but not enough to take him at 12. It's the Drew Lock situation all over again of, hey, you didn't take him at 10, you didn't take him at 20, you didn't take him at 41. Oh my God, he's there at 42. What do you know? We take Drew Lock. Do we need another Drew Lock situation? And no, we don't need Pat Shurmur. And my God, don't get me started on Pat Shurmur. See you. I'm sorry, but like, you don't need a situation where you just didn't get the guy that you believe can be the guy, and the guy that we can sniff it out by how you go about your business. It is not football business. It is the business of football. Bringing it back, KJ, every time I'm on. Anyway, like I look at it and I go, get your guy at 12 if it's Bo Nix, or move up for J.J. McCarthy if you can, more on that in a bit, or move up for Drake May. I have had some suggest Jayden Daniels, but I still strongly believe that Jayden Daniels will be the number 2 overall pick. I am set to talk to some more NFC East people coming up this week. I will do some more digging on that. My mock draft will debut next week. I only do one, but I do one based on conversations that I've had with people that work for teams. Not agent-fed information, not, this whole, the sky's pink because it helps my client. Not any of that stuff. Not any of the rumors or the gossip, but what are teams saying? What have they been telling me since January? What are they saying right now? And so I'm going to find out as much as I can for you. My one and only mock draft will be available at denversports.com. Make sure to check it out next week. So I'm going to talk to some more NFC East people this week, and then we'll see. But I don't think Jayden Daniels is an option for the Broncos. If it is, they get my number 1 quarterback, and it's phenomenal, right? It's amazing, to quote Archer for the first time tonight. Like, that would be incredible. But I want to deal in reality. The reality of the situation is Caleb Williams is gone, Jayden Daniels is gone, and probably J.J. McCarthy is gone. Probably. Depends on who do you trust. Hubba, 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 money, money, money. Who do you trust? And New England is messing with you, man. The New England Patriots are messing with the Denver Broncos and the Minnesota Vikings right now. And I can almost guarantee it. Because when someone talks out of both sides of their mouth, you can understand where the truth really lies. And lies is a great word here in the month of April, the month of lies. The New England Patriots have said, or the word has gotten out, should we say, in January, that they really like Jayden Daniels. Okay. Robert Kraft at the owners' meetings talked about how the team really needs to get a franchise quarterback. Okay, fine. Makes a bunch of sense. He said they wouldn't reach. You're at 3, bro. You don't need to reach when you're at 12, you got to move up. You're at 3, you're going to get a really good player. But if it's not Jayden Daniels, I was told to me that Michael Penix would be an option at the end of the first round. And there are some Penix fans out there. I get it. The guy can sling it. It's ugly. Left-handed passers are always ugly. But what you have is a left-handed Teddy Bridgewater, smart and accurate player, can absolutely sling it. He can sling it better than Teddy could. I could easily make the argument Michael Penix is the best pure passer in this draft. Better than Jayden, my number 1 quarterback. Better than Caleb Williams. Writing up my quarterbacks tonight for DenverSports.com, by the way. So New England said that in January, or that was allowed to be known. That's the best way I can put it. Well, now, a couple of weeks ago, heard that they will take Drake May. They will take Drake May. Well, that's funny, because that's not what they said a couple of months ago. So what, did Drake May blow him away at the combine? His interview was milquetoast at best. Drake May was not real great at the podium. Now, you don't win games at the podium. Drake May has a ton of talent. Please don't at me, bro. Don't talk to me about, well, he's got the arm. I know. I have watched every game that Drake May has started. I watched the coach's tape. I know he's got an arm. That's not the issue. I know he can run. I know he's an athlete. I know he plays hero ball. And I know when the chips are down, he's going to take chances that he shouldn't. At times when he shouldn't. That's the key. There's sometimes you got to just take that shot, right? John Elway on the drive, whatever. John Elway on a 4th down. John Elway in pressure situations. He would take that chance. But he had that amazing ability. I think John Elway is the best quarterback of all time, and I say that as a non-Broncos fan. I say that as someone who still wants to go have a cold pop with Elway. At always, John, you've got my number. Anyway, listen, that's a different guy. And as Merrill Hodge said on Schlereth and Evans, there's no John Elway in this draft. There's no Pat Mahomes in this draft. But there is a J.J. McCarthy, who now New England has met with twice and seemed to legitimately like. But it could be a ruse. This is where these final 2 weeks, we're 10 days away from the draft. They can't get here fast enough. If I could just fast forward time, what was that movie with Adam Sandler, KJ? Oh, God, why am I asking KJ? Why do I ask KJ the movie questions when you've watched 3 movies in your life? There's this guy named Adam Sandler. He's really funny, and he does a bunch of Netflix movies. Uh-huh. You don't know him, but he has a movie where he has a remote control that rewinds time. Well, I want to fast forward time because I want to fast forward to Thursday night. I'll be at Dave & Buster's. I want everyone to come out with me. This will be the greatest draft party, the best draft party you possibly can, be at. Come out with me, Dave & Buster's, I-25 in Colorado. I'll be there. John Davis, my man, JD, getting it done at the highest level. We'll be out there from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Got some great guests lined up for you for that draft show, and I get to do a brain dump for 4 hours on the draft. It's incredible. I love it, and I appreciate your audience. So come out and party with me at the draft party. Dave & Buster's, of course, I-25 in Colorado. So that's coming up on Thursday night. I go to the Broncos, and I say, listen, this is what New England is doing. And if I have a message for George Paton tonight, my message is nobody wants your pick, bro. And my second message for George Paton is this. You must move up in this draft. In fact, I believe if George Paton does not move up in this draft, it will cost him his job. I don't want to be too outlandish with my opinions, although I am emotional and opinionated. I just want to tell you the truth. Seek the truth and speak the truth. And the truth of the matter is, I believe Sean Payton really, really wants to move up. I believe it's in George Payton's best interest to do what his head coach wants to do. I believe it's in George Payton's best interest, if he really works those phones and really works a deal, does not have to give up Pat Surtain. And maybe that's where some of this backlash is coming from, because there are so many fans out there that I hear from, don't trade up, don't sacrifice picks, it's the future. Okay, the roads, no, okay, I get it. But life's a risk, Carnal, and luck favors the bold. You must be bold. Don't sit on your hands and sit there at 12 with a pick where nobody wants. Hey, we can move back and get more darts. It doesn't matter. You're not getting many more darts to move back from 12. It's perhaps the most bogus strategy in the history of the Denver Broncos. Moving back from 12. Are you kidding me? Move up. Get your quarterback and be bold, because I think New England is lying. I've studied this. I've wrestled with this mentally. I've texted other buddies in other cities about hey, this is what I'm hearing from New England. I've said it before on these airwaves. I told Adam Schefter at the owners' meetings, hey, Adam, this is what I heard about New England. Let me know what you heard. And if anyone's going to dig up on a truth and find it before anybody else, it is the ultimate bloodhound. His name is Adam Schefter. So Adam will dig on it, and we'll see. But if I'm just to guess on this thing, if I'm to take an educated guess, I think New England is lying because they're trying to play Minnesota against Denver. They're trying to convince the Broncos or the Vikings to move up to number 3 because they really like Drake May, who Minnesota likes, and they really like J.J. McCarthy, who Denver allegedly likes, per source or whatever I have to say, right? If the Broncos love J.J. McCarthy, pay the price, make the move. And you do not have to give up Pat Surtain. And I understand, and I say this with all due respect to Pat Surtain. If they had to trade him, whatever. I don't mean to sound that way. We rarely talk about how corner is position dependent, because usually, where's Joel Klatt saying wide receivers? Wide receivers, they're position dependent. They're dependent on the quarterback to get them the ball. Yeah, cornerbacks are dependent on the pass rushers to create a rush, to create pressure. You can lock down half the field. NFL teams are too good. Okay, Pat Surtain, he's the greatest cornerback ever. Okay? Yes, I totally agree with you. He's going to take away half the field. Yes, I totally agree with you. Now I'm just going to throw to the other half. Because they're not going to rush me. They're not going to pressure me. And I can pick apart all these other, Damari Mathis, all these other guys. Riley Moss barely played. I can pick apart these other guys. Corner is a dependent position. It's rush and cover. Rush and cover. Suppose I should slow down when I say that. It's rush and cover, that one Netflix movie about them Ruskies. No, it's rush and cover. Rush and cover. That's what it is. So if you have a guy, you got the greatest coverage corner, you got the greatest ever. Yeah, that's fine. You don't have the pass rush. Sorry. You got a bunch of number 2s. And they're really good number 2s, and number 2s that I like. Even Drew Sanders, now likely to play edge this year. But they're not that alpha. You don't have Von Miller. You don't have DeMarcus Ware. You don't have Shaq Barrett. Okay? That's the truth of this team and this construct. So I tell you again, and my message to George Paton, nobody wants 12, bro. And my second message to George Paton, please, for your job security, I want George Paton to be here. And I've never said that before on the air, on this show specifically. And I'm not saying it because I don't want anyone to be fired. I'm saying it because he is a good man that has a good eye for talent. He's also a man that gets a little nervous when it comes to making bold moves. And I'd like to see him get a little... If you combine Sean Payton's philosophy and his knowledge of the game with George Payton's eye for talent, you'd have the best front office in the league. And that's the bottom line. 22 minutes in. I go pro wrestler every time on this show. That's the bottom line, Mr. Tagliabue. If you combined Sean Payton's tenacity and just, aggressive mindset with George Payton's eye for talent, you have the best evaluation you can possibly buy. And Greg Penner has spent a lot of money. And the Walton Penner Group, they're spending all this money, and it's not for the Broncos to be okay and then take a quarterback in 2025 when you're going to have to trade up anyway. Unless you can fast forward and tell me the Broncos will guarantee have the number 1 overall pick, you're going to have to trade up anyway for a quarterback class that is not as good. There are 6 quarterbacks that could go in the first round this year. 6! Do you want to be in a class that's like the E.J. Manuel class? Do you want to be in a class that's like the Kenny Pickett class? Now, Shedeur Sanders is better than E.J. Manuel, and he's better than Kenny Pickett. But Shedeur is the one guy, and he's got question marks, especially if Pat Shurmur ruins him, like Pat Shurmur ruined Drew Lock, allegedly, or whatever I have to say. Sorry, CU. Listen, there's no bigger Deion fan than me. I know Brian, Brian gets annoyed when I talk about Deion. I love Deion. I bought his rap album 4 times. Twice on cassette, once on CD, and then once on iTunes because I had an extra song. Unreleased song. 20 years listening to that album. I had an unreleased song. I had to hear it. It was terrible, but it's so bad it's good. I love Deion Sanders. I can't stand Pat Shurmur. I think that's a just awful hire for that team. Running the show, trying to get Shedeur to the league, and you got Shurmur? Ha! Okay, good luck, Deion. You'll be firing Pat Shurmur after 4 games. So, next year in the draft, you're going to have to move up anyway. Don't move up. Don't sacrifice the future. You will have to eventually. And if you're one of those people, and God bless you all, and if you think, hey, you can't move up now, don't move up now, don't do it now, and what had happened is you wait till next year. Well, what are you doing next year? I guarantee you, if the Broncos do not take a meaningful rookie quarterback, I'm not talking about Spencer Rattler. He's not good at football, okay? I'm not talking about Michael Pratt in the 3rd, Spencer Rattler in the 5th, whatever. I'm not talking about any of that. If you don't take a meaningful quarterback, then guess what? Jarrett Stidham's going to win you enough games, you're going to be picking about 11. Hey, you're worse than this year. You're the 11th pick. Well, you're still not top 10, and you're still going to have to move up in a class that doesn't have 6 first-round quarterbacks, that has 2. Shedeur and Quinn Ewers. And yes, I know we didn't know JJ or Jaden would be first-rounders at this time a year ago. Okay, give me 2 more. Now you got 4. What's better, 4 or 6? I grew up in Grover, Colorado. I can do that math. This is the year to take the quarterback. So George Payton, 3 messages. George, I really like you. I do. I know that maybe we don't see eye to eye, but you've always been good to me. You've always treated me well, and I appreciate that. 2, nobody wants 12, bro. And 3, do what Sean wants to do so that you can stay in Denver. Because I firmly believe George Payton with Sean Payton, if they can work it out, could be the best front office combination in the National Football League. It is Denver Sports Tonight. I am Cecil Lammey. You may be watching me on YouTube. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you never miss a vid.